unmuted, or otherwise it talks back to us. There we go. All right. Let's be on the record in case number 2020 CR 80, captioned State of Kansas versus Amber Frame. Would the parties announce their appearances, please?
May it please the court, the state appears by Assistant District Attorney Claire Thibodeau.
And please the court, the defendant appears by and through counsel Joseph Dewaskin. The defendant also appears in person and in custody, all by Zoom.
All right. We are here set down today for a sentencing. The record should reflect that the parties were in court back on November 20th, at which time the defendant changed her plea from one of not guilty to guilty. The court inquired and accepted that, ordered a pre-sentence investigation, and set it for sentencing. I've received an amended copy of the pre-sentence investigation. The critical findings are as follows. The primary count of conviction is one of forgery, which is a severity level 8 non-person felony. The defendant's criminal history score was found to be that of E, as in Edward. That would leave her with a presumption of probation and a presumed underlying sentence of 13, 14, or 15 months. If she has to do that time, she'll be eligible for up to 20% good time credit and subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. If she's granted probation today, it would be for a period of 18 months to, I believe it is community corrections. Let me check on that. That is correct, community corrections. Special rules that apply to this case are number 10, that it was a crime committed while on felony bond, and number 16, a second or subsequent forgery. Actually, I think it's just second forgery. All right. Count 2 of conviction, which was actually count 5 in the information, is theft by deception. That is a severity level 9 non-person felony. For scoring purposes, the defendant is considered a criminal history I for this secondary offense. That would again leave her with a presumption of probation and a presumed underlying range of 5, 6, or 7 months. The same 20% good time credit, 12 months of post-release, and 18 months of probation. I would ask you first, Ms. Thibodeau, have you had an opportunity to review this PSI? Any additions, corrections, or challenges?
Judge, I have received and reviewed the amended PSI. The only thing I would add is that she does have a little bit more jail credit because she's now been in our custody since February 19th until today.
Okay. All right. Mr. Dewaskin, same question.
Your Honor, my client and I have had an opportunity to review the amended PSI. We have no changes or modifications or corrections, and I agree with Ms. Thibodeau's statement regarding additional jail time credit.
All right. Ms. Frame, your lawyer tells me she went over, or I'm sorry, that he went over the pre-sentence investigation, specifically that criminal history worksheet that talks about your prior convictions, and that you agree that it's accurate. Is that correct?
Yes, it is, Your Honor.
All right. I'm going to adopt the findings of the pre-sentence investigation for purposes of today's hearing and try and get my phone to stop making noise. I apologize for that. All right. With that, Ms. Thibodeau, I would hear your comments upon sentencing.
Your Honor, I would ask you to sentence Ms. Frame to the standard number for each count. I would ask you to run those counts concurrently. Per statute, she also needs to be, I would ask you to sentence her to 30 days in the county jail, which she has already served, and a fine of $842.38.
All right. Mr. Dewaskin. Whoops. Are you muted? I can't hear you. Mr. Dewaskin, you are muted. Your comments upon sentencing, please.
Judge, I have some connectivity issues.
Yeah. In case you didn't catch that, Rose, he said he's
Plea
having
agreements.
we missed all of that, Mr. DeWaskin. We want to try it again.
I think I might be frozen.
Yeah.
Judge, if you can hear me, I'm going to log in on my phone and see if I can get connection that way. I'm frozen right now.
All right. Let's see if I have it. Yeah, here he goes. All right, Mr. DeWaskin, let's give this another shot.
Judge, my apologies. I did hear Ms. Kevido. We would, my client and I would request that the court follow the plea agreements. It is my understanding that there is a fine, and which is the lesser of $1,000 or the amount of the forgery as the court impose that. That you run the sentences concurrently, and as I said before, that you abide by the terms of the plea agreement.
All right. Thank you. Ms. Frame, now is your opportunity to tell me anything you want me to know in mitigation of your sentence today.
I have nothing to add. Thank you.
All right. I'd just be interested for our last couple of sentencing hearings, where have you been?
The first one, I had issues logging in, and the second one, I was actually in custody at Johnson County.
All right. Not a new case, I hope, one of these that is listed?
No, it is nothing added to, there was no new charges.
All right. All right, Mr. DeWaskin, do you know any legal reason why I should not now proceed to sentencing?
No, Your Honor.
All right, I'm going to follow the plea agreement here, and I'm going to give Ms. Frame for count 1, the forgery, which is a severity level 8 non-person felony with a criminal history score of E, the standard sentence of 14 months in the Department of Corrections. If she has to do that time, she'll be eligible for 20% good time credit and subject to 12 months of post-release supervision. She's going to be fined the mandatory amount, which is the lesser of either $1,000 or the amount of the instrument. And that is the amount of the instrument. Ms. Kebido announced it earlier, roughly $852, whatever that exact amount was that Ms. Kebido noted in her statements is the fine in this case. For count 2, that theft by deception, she will be sentenced to the standard range of 6 months, same 20% good time credit and 12 months of post-release supervision. That sentence will be ordered to run concurrently with that in count 2. Given her presumption, I do take into consideration the defendant's application for probation, and it will be granted for a period of 18 months to community corrections. Ms. Frame, I need to tell you in the, I should also note for the forgery, she's also sentenced to 30 days in the county jail as a term of her probation. She will be granted credit for the time that she's been in. Look, all of these terms of your probation are going to be important, but I think here's the biggest one in this case. You can't be engaging in this kind of activity anymore. We've always had a term for forgeries called hanging paper. You can't hang any more paper. There's a lot of bad checks, a lot of thefts, identity thefts and things like that. Okay, we're going to work with you. I don't know, the root of these problems, whether it's substance abuse or something else. We're going to work with you on that, and we understand that sometimes it can be a struggle, 2 steps forward and 1 step back. I pride myself in giving defendants every opportunity to do that, to be successful. But I have to tell you that if there's any more thefts, forgeries, bad checks, things like that, you're not going to give me any choice but to send you to prison, which I don't want to do. Okay? So look, get out, work on your problems, try and overcome them. Understand that I'll have patience for those as long as they're not costing anybody else, their hard-earned money. Does that seem fair?
That seems very fair. Thank you so much.
All right, thank you. You have 14 days from today to appeal anything you don't like about your sentence. You also may be able to seek expungement of the sentence after a period of time following successful completion of probation. I just got notice from the court. As a convicted felon, it's prohibited for you to own or possess a firearm, certain kind of deadly cutting instruments like dirks, daggers, switchblades, basically knives that could be considered deadly weapons. You understand all that? Ms. Frame, you understand that?
Yes, I do.
Okay, all right. Ms. Thibodeau, help me out here. Did anything I failed to cover today?
Judge, we got the fine of $842.38, but we didn't address court costs, bids, fee, etc.
Thank you. All right. So, Ms. Frame, tell me this. When you get out, do you have a line on employment? Do you have any kind of job or prospects for getting a job when you get out?
I do. I'm actually going to be living at the Adult Residential Center in Johnson County, and I have a job set up for when I do get released.
It's a really good program, and I think it helps people get on their feet out there. All right. What are your obligations? Do you have any children that you're either raising yourself or paying support for?
I have one.
All right. Does that child live with you?
She lives 50-50 with me, and then the other 50% with her father.
All right. I assume there's no child support order on that.
There's no child support order, but I am responsible for 50% of any cost of hers.
Okay. All right. Well, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to order the court costs and the supervision fee. I'm going to waive Mr. Dwoskin's fees. The state will reimburse him. You won't need to worry about that. Is this is the felony that was on, if I remember right from the criminal history worksheet, was an out-of-state felony. Is that right?
I believe so. I think it was a Missouri felony that she was on bond for.
Right. So she's going to need to be in the database fee or the database. So she have to pay the fee for that. The fine, well, you know what? She needs to get in the database, but I'm going to waive the fee as a hardship given her financial situation, particularly since there's the mandatory fine in this case. So there will be court cost supervision fees. I'm waiving the bids application fee as well as the attorney fees. I'll waive the KBI database fee, the mandatory fine. If you, Ms. Thibodeau, would give me that exact amount again so I can get it in our cost sheet.
$842.38.
All right, that will be assessed. So when you are released, Miss Frame, do you believe that you would be able to make, well, look, I want to get you done before your probation is up. Do you think you'd be able to make $100 a month?
I can do that, yes.
Okay, that'll be the court's order. Obviously, look, if that becomes an additional hardship, work with your probation officer and they will make sure that it's not, look, I don't revoke people for not having enough money.
I
So
appreciate it.
it's something you need to take care of, but don't, you know, I think your recovery and getting on your feet's the most important. All right?
Thank you so much, Your Honor.
Yeah. All right. Mr. Dwoskin, anything else I failed to cover today?
Your Honor, nothing else. I assume you'll sign the release so she can start processing out of the jail and get back.
I'm going to do that right as soon as we hang up here.
Judge, nothing else for the court. Ms. Frame, when you do get it out, please give me a call, okay?
I will. Thank you so much.
I'm going to stop the live stream for a second